Experience a new level of luxury on Topsail Island at Saltwater Suites in Surf City, North Carolina. With no nightly minimum, you can enjoy short getaways or an extended stay. Each suite features luxury bedding, full kitchens with dining tables and dishwashers. And all suites other than the 3 ADA suites have full-size washers and dryers. And don't forget about those beautiful ocean views. 24/7 self-check-in provides a hassle-free and seamless experience. Saltwater Suites is the perfect choice for your next beach getaway. Book your next Topsail visit at saltwatertopsail.com or call 910-886-4818. Saltwater Suites, Topsail Island's premier luxury hospitality experience. Welcome to the Topsail Insider Podcast, where locals, vacationers, and those looking to relocate to the Greater Topsail area can hear all about the wonderful businesses and events in our beautiful coastal Carolina towns, including Hampstead, Topsail Beach, Surf City, North Topsail, Holly Ridge, and Sneads Ferry. Coming up, a wonderful interview with a local photographer for your family beach portraits. Hear all you need to know before booking your session. You'll also hear a couple of really touching stories, one of which went viral with shows like Good Morning America and The Today Show, calling her for interviews. Hello everyone, welcome to the Topsail Insider Podcast. Today, I am interviewing Miss Amy Shores, the owner of Seaside Topsail Photography. It's one of the leading photography businesses in the Topsail area. So thank you so much for joining me, Amy. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you
I'm
today.
so glad you're here. You ready to jump right in?
Sure.
I know that you do a lot of beach family portraits. I saw them on your website. They're really beautiful.
Thank you.
I love them. You do over 150 shoots per year, right?
Yes, mostly in the summer. That's definitely our busiest time, but we do shoot all year long.
Summer's coming hard and fast, so
And
you better get
We are
ready.
booking like crazy.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. You do a lot of sea life photography. You do all the beaches and the sunsets. You also do something that I'm going to call artwork. Okay, it's more than photography because you're taking your wonderful shots and then you're putting the lyrics on top of that. And I'm sure there's some editing in there, but you make them look so amazing and beautiful. And they're lyrics that I recognize that were some of my favorite songs back in the day. So I love those. You do wedding photography. You do senior and graduation portraits. You do infant photography. You have your work on the walls of local businesses and you're selling them there. And you just opened up your own printing company, which is huge. Before we get into all that, I want to talk about your history a little bit. Can you tell me where you're from?
Sure, absolutely. So I was born and raised in Ohio.
Okay.
I was born in a small town called Wapakoneta, Ohio, home of Neil Armstrong. That's our little claim to fame. My mom actually worked at his museum, so got to meet him a couple times. Super nice man.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Yes, I had a wonderful family. I have a brother. My two parents were my best friends. I absolutely loved growing up in Ohio. Still have lots of friends there. I went to Bowling Green State University and I went into education and I was a teacher for 28 years.
Okay.
I absolutely love teaching. I retired last year. I had found my love drifting more towards photography. I had done that on the side and done a lot of weddings on the weekends. And I got up just about every morning for sunrises and I took sunset pictures.
Here on the island?
Yes. I moved to Topsail Island about 9 years ago. I was teaching in Raleigh and came to Topsail on vacation and thought, why in the world am I not living here? So I applied for a job and got a job teaching in Pender County, and I finished my career in Pender County, and I fell in love with the community. I fell in love with the parents and the children. This area is just so family oriented, and kids are my love. I miss the kids every day. I still get a child will send me a text and say, hey, I saw the sky this morning and I thought of you. Oh. And it's the best gift in the whole wide world. So,
what grade did you teach?
So I taught kindergarten for 17 years and then I moved to fifth grade and I ended my career in fifth grade with 10-year-olds and taught with some of the most amazing people and still keep in touch with so many of them. One of my favorite times in the mornings when I'm out at sunrise is taking pictures of the surfers, and it's almost inevitable that I recognize multiple surfers. I'll be students that I've had in the past and they'll wave at me, make sure you get me Miss Shores.
I love that. That's really special.
It truly is. It combines both of my loves, kids and photography. And so it makes me very happy.
How old were you when you started developing your passion for photography?
I've always been interested. I would say my passion grew a lot when I moved to this beautiful place.
Understandable.
It's hard not to fall in love with photography when you wake up to those beautiful sunrises on the beach. I honestly started just with a cell phone on the beach. If I had time before school started, I would go, and it just started my day off on the right foot to breathe it in and be grateful for living in this beautiful place. And my mother was living with us at the time. She had moved down from Ohio, and I would take her out there every once in a while to the beach and show her my pictures, and she loved to be with me. And it was about 4 years ago. She passed away about 3 weeks before Christmas.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I had lost both of my parents 4 months apart, so it was a really difficult time, but she passed away right before Christmas, and underneath her Christmas tree was my first professional camera. It was like her last gift to me. I'm sorry.
You're going to make me cry. That's incredible.
Yeah, and I just started going out after that. I could feel her and both of them, and it became like therapy to me.
Beautiful.
You don't need to sell them, and you don't need to do all the other things, but just connecting with something so beautiful makes you realize that what a gift you had. I really feel like that was her kind of sign for me that I'm going to give you one last gift. And
I love that.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Oh, thank you for sharing that.
Sure, absolutely.
Is this all self-taught, or did you take any classes?
So I did take a couple of classes online, and then I also took a class that's taught at Cape Fear Community College right over here in Surf City. They have an intro to photography class.
Okay.
It teaches you the basics of any kind of DSLR camera, and then there's also advanced classes after that. I would highly recommend it to anybody who's interested in just upping their game a little bit. But honestly, also online, YouTube is such a great teacher now.
No kidding.
Yeah. Every time I get a new camera, the first thing I do is go on YouTube and listen to all the experts that have already used the camera, because they have so many tips and different things to share, and it ups your game a lot.
100%. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the family photos.
Sure.
It's very popular here. When did that take off?
In the last few years, I think that through all of the COVID, people realized how important family was and how important our time is. And I think back to when my kids were little, and I didn't do enough of that. And again, with my parents being gone, I would give anything to go back and have those portraits done again. One of the problems I had as a single mom with 3 kids growing up, I could never afford to do that. I pride myself very much on making it professional and affordable at the same time, because it's such an important thing to document. And I can't tell you how many times I will do a family photo shoot, let's say a year ago, and through this past year, someone will reach out and say, Amy, I lost my dad this year, and if you have any other photos, is there any way? And
how about that? It's not just hopping out in front of the waves and snapping a picture. There's a lot more that goes into the work that you do prior to the photo shoot, I would assume, because you have to pick the right location, the right time of day. It gets windy on the beach oftentimes. How do you decide where you're going to take the family?
Sure. So there are several things that go into it. And families, a lot of times, if they come regularly, have specific spots that they want to go to. But one of the most sought after times, and the time slot that we fill up the most is called the magic hour. So it's the hour right before sunset. That's when the clouds and the colors change. A lot of times we get the pinks and the beautiful purples in the sky.
So pretty around here.
Exactly. And the sun isn't so bright. That's definitely, especially in the summer, that's one of the most sought after times. I always try to find a spot that has a little bit of shade. The Surf City Pier is one of the favorite spots for everybody. But it's really neat too, because the pier is a great spot, but then you just move 10 steps down and then you just have the ocean in the background. And if you turn around the other way, you have the dunes in the background. So in that one spot, you can get several different backgrounds, several different looks.
Right. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And do you shoot sound side at all, or is it just mostly surf side?
Absolutely. I do both. I shoot a lot of prom pictures on the sound because the kids don't want to get their dresses dirty or sandy on the beach side. If people want a sunset, obviously you have to go to the sound side. And actually, several people request sunrise too. I did a proposal last year at sunrise and it was absolutely beautiful.
I bet.
The warmest part, 12 to 2, I don't recommend most of the time in the summer because it's just so hot. So we do early mornings, and then I do a lot during the magic hour. But a lot of families also like to have the shoot done right at their home, especially if there's multiple families staying there, because obviously beach parking is not the easiest at the pier. I do a lot of family shoots going to the location where the families are, especially if they have small children or elderly parents who can't climb the steps and all those things. We go all the way up and down the island.
I did see where you do help people out picking what clothes to wear. What do you recommend?
Yes. So some people like a certain color scheme. This is what I tell people who aren't sure what they want for their color. I tell them to Google beach family photo shoots. And if you just click at images, there are hundreds of images of all different kinds of patterns that people use. And it just gives them a much better idea. I don't typically recommend white because unless you're super tan, it tends to wash people out.
I bet a lot of people ask for that,
yes,
don't they?
They do. And if it's the end of summer when everybody has good color, it looks a lot different than now when we haven't been out in the sun maybe so much. But
it's terrible right now.
I don't think there's ever a bad choice. It's just what people prefer. But
Yeah.
I did a shoot last summer and they had 26 grandchildren. Each grandchild had a number on their shirt, starting with the oldest to the youngest. And then
Cute. I love that.
Cutest thing. And then each separate family, there were 4 separate families, had a different color shirt. So one family had blue, one family had orange. So I could never remember all those names. So I'd say, okay, orange family, let's go.
That's brilliant.
They made for some of the cutest pictures. And there were actually 2 babies that were not born yet that had their numbers. So they held up the little onesies with their numbers on them. But I just thought I've never seen that
That's
before.
adorable.
Oh my gosh. It
I
was
love
the
it.
cutest thing.
How long do the photo shoots generally take?
We offer a few different packages. So we have mini shoots, which are usually about 30 minutes. And that would be a small family or even a couple that's engaged. We do the hour shoots. Anybody that has multiple families, we recommend at least an hour just because it's a lot of switching in and out. I'm one of those people, though, that unless I have somebody right after me, I don't count minutes. If I'm having fun, it's about fun and about them getting the experience they want and the pictures they want.
You're making memories.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're recording them, but you're making them
it.
too. Do you change locations? Do you change wardrobes?
Yes, I have done a lot of the changing of locations. Clients will want some beach photos and then they might want something on the sound, or I've done a lot on trails, especially in the fall with leaves and different things. That's always a beautiful one. Senior portraits are one that we do a lot of clothing changes.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I was looking at your work and I did notice that there were some wardrobe and location changes.
Sure.
Yeah.
So especially senior girls love to change clothes. And
I don't blame them.
No, I don't blame them either. It's their shining moment. And then the guys are like, are we finished? 5 pictures and I'm good. It's about them having the experience. I did senior portraits for a girl that's graduating from Topsail. I did them back in the fall and I think we went to 4 different locations on the island, but it made for such beautiful pictures and she got all different kinds of looks and they were absolutely beautiful. And
she will treasure those for decades.
You got it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How often do you have to reschedule for wind or weather period?
It unfortunately, it happens in the summer. Typically, we tell clients if they're here for a week, we try to schedule them their first session towards the beginning of the week in case of weather.
Smart.
If it's their last day of vacation, we tend to say, can we push it up a couple of days just in case? We do our very best to get everybody in. You just never know. The beautiful part about where we are too is rain doesn't tend to last all day. So a client will say, they'll text me in the morning and say, Amy, it looks like rain this afternoon. And I'll say, let's just give it a little bit of time. And sometimes it's just a couple of hours and then it's gone. Yeah. So I did a wedding last summer and this was amazing. The weather looked terrible and we thought, okay, we're going to have to just have the wedding inside. It was supposed to be a beach wedding. And all of a sudden, right before it looked, okay, we're going to go. So the family walked down, the music started, everybody got in place. And as the bride was coming down, she was walking down to somewhere over the rainbow. And I promise you, the biggest rainbow came across the sky and nobody could speak.
Oh my gosh.
It was just one of those moments that you just never forget. But you can't plan that. I could try that a million more times and it would never happen. And the music set to that as well. But I thought, that's her gift for being so stressed out all day long, because brides are,
Totally.
they want everything to be perfect,
course.
you know? And I thought, and they made for the most beautiful pictures. So they got married literally under the rainbow.
I'm going to look for those pictures on your site.
Incredible.
What about touch-ups? Do you offer that as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So my pictures are always edited. So I use Photoshop and Lightroom. I don't tend to over edit. I just take out things that if there's hair,
Blemishes.
right, or if the hair is blowing in somebody's face, I do my best to calm that down.
Do you mind talking about your pricing structure?
No, not at all. Not at all. So our typical half an hour mini session starts at $185 and it comes with about 30 pictures, edited pictures. All of our pictures are loaded in a digital Dropbox file, so they're sent digitally. And once the clients have those files, they can print, share, they can share the link with whomever they want.
I just want to hear that again. You said 30 edited pictures.
Yes.
That's a good amount. That's nice.
It really is. And again, it goes back to I'm about making it affordable and making sure everybody can have those pictures taken. So our 60-minute starts at $250.
Okay.
And then if there are multiple families, the price goes up depending on how many pictures they want and all those things.
Gotcha.
But I'm honestly not one of those people that counts pictures either. It tends to be more pictures than we quote. But if I look at pictures and go, this picture's incredible, and they're at 30, there's no way that I can't.
Amy's
give them
throwing in
that.
another one.
You got that right. Because why not?
Okay, so we talked about wedding photography. You do weddings all over, though. It's not just on the island.
Correct. Yes, I did. I had a wedding in Leland. I have friends and family in Ohio. I have had clients that have paid for me to go to Ohio to do weddings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've done senior portraits in Minnesota. Clients paid for me to come to Minnesota. So that's my dream too. I love the island, but I just want to share this photography with anybody. We have family in New York, so we go up there and I do some shoots up there as well. But Wilmington is a hot spot. I've been to Beaufort.
Oh, you go down to Wilmington a lot?
Yes, I have.
Oh, Beaufort, yeah.
Yeah, I have weddings scheduled in Wilmington this summer, and the riverfront down there is absolutely beautiful. So, yeah. So
there's a lot to look at around here.
absolutely,
It's gorgeous.
Yes.
So, speaking also of weddings, I want everyone to hear about the wedding story that went viral.
Oh, it was one of those moments that I'll just never forget. It was during COVID. I had a wonderful couple that they were supposed to get married in Hawaii. And obviously during COVID, nobody was allowed to travel.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody was allowed to go anywhere. This family had a family beach house on Topsail Island, and the couple lived outside of Wilmington. So they reached out to me and said, we still want to get married, but we just can't have anyone there. And if we have our officiant and you come to the ceremony on the beach, would you take pictures for us? Absolutely. I lived across the street. So I said, sure. So the day of the wedding, I went over and I walked in and the bride was getting ready and she was frazzled. And she said, Amy, we still don't have the groom's ring.
Oh, wow.
And I said, okay, take a deep breath. It's fine. There are worse things, right? So she said the FedEx driver was supposed to be coming with the ring. Would I leave a note on the front door for him? So I just wrote a note and said, FedEx driver, we are around back getting married. If the ring comes, will you bring it around back? Taped it to the front door. So we go down and it's probably about the middle of the ceremony. And all of a sudden.
Well, the ceremony had already started.
Oh, absolutely. No ring yet. So we were just winging it. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine. I would have given her one of my rings to use
Yeah.
or whatever we needed to do. We are halfway through the ceremony and I hear the bride say, he's here. And I look over and this wonderful FedEx driver is running down the dunes, waving
No
the package.
way.
Yes. Saying, hold on. So the bride,
I just got chills.
It was amazing. So the bride, her name was Savannah, turns and sees him. She starts running towards him. So it was like one of those moments. So I just started
Amazing.
snapping pictures because it was just amazing. And he was so fabulous because it was COVID. He like stopped and leaned way over and handed the package over to her. So I just documented. I thought it was one of those great moments. So we went on with the wedding and it was a beautiful day. So I posted what a wonderful person this FedEx driver was. His name's Joe on Facebook. And I thought it'd be a feel good story for all of my friends.
Yeah.
I posted it probably in the evening. The next morning, my phone rang And it was a reporter from Raleigh who said, "We just saw your story. Would you be willing to do an interview?" And I said, "Absolutely." Then my phone rang and it was Associated Press.
Oh my gosh.
And they said, "Your story is going viral. And we would love for you to be able to share this with whoever wants to share the story."
Yeah.
And I was blown away. And I said, "Of course."
Did you have to call and get permission from the bride and,
Yes.
and
So
Joe, the FedEx driver?
I reached out to Joe and I reached out to Savannah, and we were so tickled with all of it because
I bet.
honestly, probably 50 times that day, my phone rang. Good Morning America called, the Today Show, Inside Edition, Ellen. So we were on Good Morning America and all these places. The best part for me was Savannah, who had to have her wedding canceled in Hawaii.
Yeah.
It brought joy to her. So Joe and I have become such good friends. We've just stayed in touch. And so he met a beautiful lady and they just had a child. And Joe reached out to me and he said, "Amy, we would love nothing more for you to come to the hospital and be one of the first people to meet our baby boy."
That's so sweet.
And it was just, and I took pictures.
Okay, wait a minute. Did she spot him in all of
I don't
that
know,
viral
maybe.
thing? It's like, I got to meet that Joe.
Yes, they are just the sweetest couple. And the quote during all of the interviews during that time was "Love wins." And I think it's so true in general. And that all came out of a missing wedding ring.
Isn't that
Isn't
great?
that crazy?
That's wonderful. I love that story so much. Thank you for sharing
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
We talked about your senior portraits, but we didn't talk about your infant photography. I would imagine shooting children would be difficult because you don't know what they're going to do. If they're like my boys, they're making goofy faces the
Right.
entire time I want to shoot a photo. So how do you manage the children when you're trying to get these great shots? And especially toddlers and infants. What's your trick?
Right. I'll start with the toddlers. Toddlers, being silly, I probably have sung Baby Shark. I don't know how many times.
You
last
poor
summer.
thing.
But it usually works. Sometimes I'll put, if they're very little, I'll put like a little toy at the end of my lens so they know to look at the giraffe or they know to look at some kind of something that gets their attention.
Smart. Gotcha.
But you know what? The beach is so fun. I let them run up and down the beach and I chase them around, and those are the best pictures.
I bet they are.
Absolutely.
They're just being
the
natural.
unplanned smiles of just joy. So those are amazing.
So you've got your work up at how many different places around town now?
So I have my work at Beauchesne's. I have my work at Breezeway Restaurant. We have a new gallery called The Locals that I have some work in there as well. But I love to be able to share my work, even if people aren't in a position to buy what's there. I love to share the island with people. To me, that's a gift.
Do you have the prices or your contact information? Do they buy them there on the spot, or do they have to contact you to purchase them?
So they can buy them on the spot. I have QR codes on the price tags so they can use their phone and pay for it and walk out of the restaurant with the image right there with them.
Modern technology.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
I
right?
love it.
We do a lot of shows in the summer and the fall as well. We do art shows. There's Sneed's Ferry does a shrimp festival that we do every year. Autumn at Topsail on the south side of the island is just it's a huge event. In those shows, I sell coasters. I sell 8x10 paper. It doesn't have to be the big framed canvas. So we just try to make something for everybody. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk about the photos that you're putting the lyrics to.
Yes.
How did you get the idea? What's the status of that project?
Music has always been so important to me. I love anytime that I'm going through a rough spot, that's what I turn to. And even if it's not something bad, something good, to be able to have note cards or stationery or framed print, it's been received very well. And I actually asked for people to send me artists that they would like to see as well.
I'm going to send you some.
Yes, please do. It's so interesting to see what people love, right? Because sometimes it's a person that I would go, there is no way that I thought AC/DC would be their favorite band,
I was
right?
just thinking about that. I was saying some
Metallica.
acid rock, and they're sending you these lyrics like, dude, you've got to put this
Yes.
in front of that beach scene.
But you know what? It speaks to somebody.
It does.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And that's the beauty of it.
Can we buy any of those now? Where are they for sale?
Yes. So we are working on our online store, which is a huge process. But on my Facebook page, there are images that people will say, hey, this is an image that I love. They'll message me. Can I do this? We can do paper. We can do print.
You're doing it on
canvas.
demand right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And then my dream is in the near future to have an actual store, brick and mortar. And we only full-time started the business about 6 months ago. I'm just a dream chaser. That's what I say.
I didn't know you just started 6 months ago.
Yeah, full-time 6 months ago. I did a lot before last year and the last few years, weddings and things on the weekends when I wasn't teaching and those kind of things. But I made the leap. I decided that, you know what, life is too short.
Good for you.
To not say what if, right?
Absolutely.
And so I've learned that along the way. Life teaches you things, maybe the hard way sometimes, but you better do it while you can, because we're not guaranteed anything.
Nope.
And so I am so happy. I'm terrified, but I'm happy. I can't tell you how many people say, I'm so proud of you for doing what you've done, because it took a lot of courage to walk away from that guaranteed security of a job. But I wake up every day so grateful. Yeah. I have a dream. I'm going to go for it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to the biggest news that you have right now is you have started this new printing business. Tell me about that and why you decided to go in that direction.
Yes, absolutely. So it was a huge investment and a huge step for us. But I was selling so many canvases and pieces of artwork that I had to send out to be printed. And it was costing me way too much money. And then I would have to up my price to sell to my client because I had to make back my own printing costs. I sat down with my son and we thought, okay, we're going to invest. So we bought the best Canon printer that there was out there. It's a 60-inch printer, but it is absolutely incredible.
I was wondering, I saw a picture on Facebook and it looked like a lot of machinery there.
Yes, it's a monster. And to be honest with you, I had no training. As a matter of fact, it was so big, it was delivered by a semi-truck.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, oh my gosh, what have I done?
Yes. Yeah.
But it came and I was so excited. Was it easy? No. Did I cry a lot? Yes.
Did you?
Yes, because just teaching myself the graphics. Now we build our own wooden frames that the canvas is wrapped around.
Oh, wow.
You always have to leave area for the wrap. I didn't know how to do any of that.
Yeah.
So I called on people smarter than me and my friends. And that's what you're supposed to do in life,
Absolutely.
right? And in the last 6 months, what we've accomplished is pretty incredible. I have a wonderful rep through a company I work with. And he said, Amy, I think I found the perfect canvas for you. It is beautiful. It is shiny. And the best part is it is made from 100% recycled water bottles. And for
that's incredible.
It's incredible. And it honestly is the best canvas that I've used. And for this area, we're strong on protecting this ocean.
Absolutely.
And the environment. And what a great way to incorporate this beautiful island through my art using recyclable materials.
I love that.
So that's what we use. We can print up to 60 inches. We do small prints. We do large prints. We do all kinds of things. I want it to be affordable and I want it to be beautiful.
What's coming up for you? What are your plans for the future? What's going on?
So our busy season is coming up, summer.
Yeah.
So we still have some availability. It's quickly getting filled, but I think we have 10 weddings this summer.
That's a lot.
I don't even know how many photo shoots. My son is my business partner. He does all of the online communicating. He posts advertising for me and he's in charge of all that. And the best part for me is he has to talk to me at least 3 or 4 times a day. So I can't keep him near.
There's no escape.
Yes.
You got to talk to mama.
Exactly. And my dream is I just want all my kids to be involved in it. I would love to leave this someday to them and go, Mom did this for us. Nothing would make me happier than that.
I bet.
Yeah.
Are there any last thoughts on what you want us, the listeners, to know about you, Amy Shores, and your business?
Just that I would be absolutely honored to share in any kind of life event that anybody has coming up. I love to be around people. And you know what? Even if all you want to do is go walk the beach with me in the morning and take some pictures with me, most of the time I'm by myself. I can't say that I don't have the makeup on from the day before because I probably do when I roll out of bed. Sometimes people will say, hey, are you Amy? And I'm like, oh, what do I look like today? Should I say yes or no? I'm not sure.
I don't know who you're talking about.
No, not me. It's not me. She's crazy.
No, that's funny.
A lot of vacationers will come and say, hey, I follow you. Is there any way that maybe we could meet for coffee? That makes me so happy. And to be able to just sit down and meet somebody new.
Absolutely.
And for them to go, wow, this island has people that are so welcoming. I think that's so important.
Yep.
That's the impression we want to leave them, right? So call me or say, hey, will you come teach me how to do this or that? I'll meet you on the beach anytime. It's my favorite place to be. If I could put a little shack right on the beach, I'm sure that's where I would probably live live the rest of my life.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yes,
I would love
for
that
sure.
too.
Yes.
Slide over, Amy.
Yeah, right. We'll
coming
have
over.
room.
Okay, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure
Sure.
sitting here with you and getting to know you. You have such a great energy.
Thank you.
And I've just really enjoyed this.
Me
Thank you.
too. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you how to reach Amy Shores at Seaside Topsail Photography. Her phone number is 910-284-6308. Her email address is amy, A-M-Y, at seasidetopsail.com, and her website is seasidetopsail.com. She's on Facebook. She's also on Instagram, so you can find her there. Her pictures are wonderful. Her website is just loaded full of wonderful photos, so be sure to go there too. If you weren't able to write any of that down, don't worry. I'll always put all that contact information in my podcast description. Thank you for joining me. Thanks,
you so
listeners.
much.
Thank you, Amy. I appreciate it, and we will see you around Topsail. Hey, thank you for joining me today on Topsail Insider. If you liked today's episode, please hit the follow or subscribe button so that you can get the Topsail Insider podcast delivered automatically to whichever podcast platform you're listening on. And if you're a business owner and you wish to set up a pre-interview or you want to advertise, please email me at topsailinsider@gmail.com. Please also find and like the Topsail Insider Facebook page. I provide links to the new podcast there each week, as well as providing photos of the businesses that I'm highlighting, along with any of their upcoming events. So hey, let's do this again next week. I'll see you around Topsail.